Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Scorebook Stories. I am Alec. I hope you all have had a wonderful Easter weekend. I know I did. Watched a whole lot of baseball and watched a little bit of wrestling. Have a whole other show on that, but that is not what we are here for. We are here to talk some baseball. And honestly, it's still in that feeling out period. Some teams are upsetting teams. Some pitchers just don't quite got it yet. It's a little bit of a mix of everything, honestly. But I'm enjoying it. I mean, we got a couple games going on right now. As I'm recording, Washington is up 3-2 over Colorado in the top of the ninth with a man on third. Arizona is tied with the Cubs 1-1 in the sixth. The Giants are winning 1-0 over the Angels in the top of the fifth. And still to go tonight is San Diego versus Houston and the second game of the Washington Rockies matchup. So there's still a lot of baseball to watch today. There was a lot of good games today. The Guardians and Pirates went into some extras. Who doesn't love free baseball? The Marlins and the Phillies went into extras today. The Tigers and Royals went into extras today. As I was driving home from my grandmother's house today, I was just getting notification after notification after notification of this guy hit a home run, that guy hit a home run, this guy hit a home run. I don't know if it's just because it got super warm today out here in Pennsylvania, or maybe it's super warm randomly throughout the country today. I'm not really sure. But what I do know is that the ball's just flying out of the ballpark today. I love it. I'm all for it. I feel a little bit of a feel a little bad for some of these pitchers, honestly. But to get things going here, this past week was fiery. There was a lot of aggression and people were amped up this weekend. And I want to talk a little bit about the Pirates National Series from this past week. Things got really heated. Benches cleared after Jorge Lopez hit Brian Reynolds and then threw at Andrew McCutchen's head. Afterwards, Lopez was ejected and things settled down a little bit. They brought in Salazar to pitch for Lopez, and O'Neill Cruz responded by hitting a grand slam. That is how you respond to your players being thrown at. Whether or not it was intentional, I don't know. Lopez says it was an accident. Nothing was intentional behind it. They were jawing back and forth on the field a little bit. What was said, I don't know. I'm going to need John Boy to get a little bit of a lip reading there video for that one. Not sure what all actually happened. There was a couple highlights that I saw of Andrew McCutchen last season or 2 seasons ago, hitting home runs off of Lopez. So maybe Lopez has a thing against McCutchen. I don't know. Lopez says it was an accident. He's been having control issues. The Pirates seem to feel no harm, no foul. Nothing came of it the next day in the final game of the series. So I don't know. But either way, Lopez was suspended 3 games. They appealed that suspension. The head coach of the Nationals was suspended for a game. So he served that suspension. I don't know what's going to go down with this Lopez appeal. Probably nothing. But then benches cleared again in the Blue Jays versus the Rays game after Jose Berrios and Cal Raleigh got into it a little bit. Jose Berrios accused Mariners. Oh, sorry, not Rays, Seattle. I don't know why I said Rays. I was probably watching the Yankees game while I typed this out. Oh man, sorry about that. The Blue Jays Mariners had the benches clear after Berrios and Raleigh got into it. Cal Raleigh was apparently relaying pitches to Seattle teammates from second base, and Berrios just wanted to stand up for himself and confront Raleigh. Didn't think benches would clear, but honestly, anytime a pitcher starts to get into it with a player from the other team, benches are going to clear. And honestly, like I think pitchers I mean, I could totally be wrong, but I really think pitchers sometimes get a little bit paranoid about that kind of stuff. Like I remember Kenley Jensen like purposely balking to move a guy from second to third so he couldn't relay signs and pick up on things like that. I don't know if there's like it's a little bit of the chess to the checkers kind of mindset here. Like I don't think there was any relaying of pitches going on. I don't think there was sign stealing going on. Um, but Berrios definitely thought there was, so he confronted Raleigh, caused the benches to clear. Things did cool down. Nothing really came of it. But then we we have Jazz Chisholm getting ejected for a call that honestly was really bad. I kind of have a feeling Booney was going to come out and get himself ejected, but Jazz took care of the ejection himself. I think the ball was probably good, like 3 to 6 inches below the strike zone, not even close to a strike, but it ended up being strike 3. Jazz got called out and then ejected before the game was even over. Jazz tweeted, "Not even close," or something along those lines. Like, you can't do that. You can't do it. I understand you're frustrated, but that can't happen. But either way, the Yankees ended up taking 3 of 4. They lost today to the Rays down at the Yankees spring training facility, which I will admit that was a really weird one to watch. But getting away from the argumentative games and series that we saw this weekend, we have the Braves potentially finding a little bit of an unexpected key player in Alex Verdugo. Verdugo went 4 for 5 with 2 doubles against the Twins on Saturday. Also in this series, we saw the MLB debut of Twin star prospect Luke Keeschel. Keeschel went 2 for 4 in his debut with a double, and I think he looked pretty good. I think he still needs a little bit of time to grow, and he'll probably come into his own and be a solid second baseman for the Twins probably around July. However, Verdugo looked ready to go. I feel like he's a guy right now that definitely has something to prove. And when it comes to like, yes, he had a really bad season last year. Last year was not good for Alex Verdugo in a Yankee uniform. So I understand why nobody really wanted to sign him. People kind of thought he was, past his prime. He struggled a little too much. But I still think Verdugo's a really good outfielder. And watching Yankees spring training, I kind of felt like there may be a chance the Yankees bring him back just for his defensive reliability. But watching him play and going 4 for 5, he looked like a man on a mission in that game. He looked like he was out to prove something, and I think he may carve himself out a nice little spot on the Braves to hopefully help them turn things around, because they look like absolute trash. The Braves do not look good at all. But two teams that do look pretty good right now are the Cubs and the Diamondbacks. They had probably one of the games of the year, and definitely a game to remember on Friday night. The Cubs came away with the 13-11 win. Heading into the bottom of the 7th, the Cubs were leading 2-1. All of these runs came in the in the 7th, in the 7th and the 8th. The Cubs were just looking for some insurance runs. They ended up adding 5 in the bottom of the 7th, then allowing 10 runs in the top of the 8th to go down 11-7. They needed to hope that the bats stayed hot, and they definitely were still on fire, adding 6 more runs in the bottom of the 8th and shutting the Diamondbacks down in the top of the 9th to secure the win. Wicks, Hodge, and Roberts were all used by the Cubs in the top of the 8th, all allowing those 10 runs. That was a bad outing for those 3 guys. It was not a good one at all. Then we have the Philadelphia Phillies and the not New York. Oh my goodness. We're getting close to the NFL draft, and I'm thinking a little bit of football here. The San Francisco Giants, who were at one point the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Giants right now are 2 dominant teams in the National League. And they're definitely, in my opinion, right now, they're probably going to be two teams in the playoffs, and they definitely are playoff favorites right now. So their 4-game set was definitely a series I was looking forward to watching a bit of. And honestly, I'm not surprised that the series ended 2-2. They split. No harm, no foul. Two really good teams with great pitching staffs. I wasn't too shocked, but these teams have a lot of really good pitchers and a lot of guys that can get on base. The Phillies right now are trying to figure out what is wrong with Brandon Marsh and Alec Boehm. Those two guys are not hitting the ball. I don't think Brandon Marsh has a hit in the month of April. Like, I don't think he has one hit this entire month. And that that's not good. Brandon Marsh, if he's going to be one of their star everyday outfielders, yes, his defensive reliability is there, and he is a no doubt top defender in the MLB. But like, come on, man, you got to hit the ball a little bit. Stay up to date on everything going on in the sports world by heading over to Seven Mountain Sports on Facebook, Seven Mountain Sports on X, on Instagram. We are on all of your favorite platforms, and you do not want to miss out on a single thing going on here at Seven Mountain Sports. Looking through some of the standings updates, not including results of today's games, the Yankees are in first place at 13-8. Blue Jays are 12-9. Red Sox are 12-10. The Orioles are 9-11. The Rays are 9-2. So the AL East is kind of working out around the way that I kind of thought. I feel like the Orioles definitely need some work. They got to wake up because they look awful right now. They look absolutely terrible right now. I'm looking for the final score of their game today because they were not in a good spot at all today. I'm trying to find it here real quick. Yeah, there it is. So today they played the Cincinnati Reds, and the Reds beat the Orioles 24-2. 24-2. That is absolutely brutal. The only innings that the Reds did not score a run were the first inning and the sixth inning. Absolutely awful. Looking at their box score right now, the Reds had a total of 25 hits, so 24 runs on 25 hits. They were able to get 11 walks. Friedel 1 for 6, McLean 2 for 5, De La Cruz 1 for 4 until he was pulled for Espinal, who went 0 for 2. Hayes was 4 for 6. Lux was 2 for 4. Steer was 2 for 6. Fraley was 1 for 3 before he was pulled for Dunn, who went 1 for 1. Marte was 5 for 7, and Wins was 6 for 7. That is brutal. De La Cruz hit a home run. Marte hit a home run. Wins hit a home run. Friedel had a triple, couple of doubles through this whole game. Just not a good performance for Charlie Morton on the mound, who pitched 2 1/3 innings, allowed seven runs on 7 hits and 4 walks with only 2 Ks, earning himself a 10.89 ERA for that game. Then they threw in Petit for 2 2/3, who allowed 5 runs on 6 hits. Then they got Perez in there for 2, who allowed 3 runs on 5 hits. Mateo 5 runs for 5 hits, and Sanchez ended the game pitching the final inning for the Orioles, allowing 4 runs on 2 hits. That is bad. I mean, and the Reds didn't even keep a pitcher on the mound all that much. They had Sutter throw 3, they had Rogers throw 1, Barlow throw 1, Wynn throw 3. Like, this, it wasn't a good game. sometimes this happens. Sometimes you crank that Soldier Boy, and sometimes that Soldier Boy cranks you. And the Orioles definitely got cranked today. It was a bad one. Hopefully that wakes the Orioles up a little bit and that resets that team, because they definitely need it. That's an unfortunate one, if I'm being honest. Nobody really wants to see that kind of play. Nobody wants to see that game. But sometimes it's got to happen to wake a team up. And I think the Orioles are in that situation. They're a great team. They have a lot of great players. They have pretty good pitchers. Do they have a top-notch rotation? No, they don't. But the Orioles are a team that needs to be waking up, because they have top of the AL East potential, but they're not executing at all. Then over in the AL Central, the Tigers are 13-8, the Guardians are at 11-9, Royals at 8-14, who they have a case of the can't hit the baseball right now. I don't know what's going on in Kansas City. There's another team that needs to be woken up a little bit. Thankfully, they're in a division with the Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins, who are looking awful to start the year. So they'll be able to at least stay in third place and try to keep themselves in the hunt for the AL Central. But if they keep playing this way, playoffs are not in the Royals' future. But either way, the Twins are 7-14, and the White Sox are 4-16. Looking over in the West, the Rangers are 13-8, Mariners are 11-10, Astros 10-10, Angels also 10-10, and the A's are 10-11. The A's swept the White Sox, and wow, did Tyler Soderstrom ball out. He is crushing the baseball right now. It is unbelievable, and I am pumped for this dude. He has 9 home runs through 22 games, 25 hits, 2 doubles, 19 RBIs, 9 walks, 21 strikeouts. He's got a 298 average, which is awesome. He is playing out of his mind, and I think Tyler Soderstrom definitely has the potential to become one of the key franchise players for this Athletics team moving forward, unless once they get to Vegas, they decide to just move everyone out. I think that would be a horrible move, especially with a guy like Soderstrom, because Soderstrom is going to end up going to another team if the A's let him go, and he is going to be an absolute stud. He already is a stud, and I don't think there is a world where the A's should let him walk. But we know how some of these organizations like the A's and the Pirates treat star players that are young like this. I believe Soderstrom is 20 something. He's 20. He's was born in 2021. That makes him 23, I think. Yeah, 20, 23, 24. He's young. So we'll see if he's going to be the next future first baseman for the Vegas A's whenever they end up going there. But I think right now they're playing really, really well. And then you also have guys like Butler. He's a stud out there in the outfield for the A's, and I think he's another guy that is going to end up getting the short end of the stick here. I think he's going to play his heart out. He's going to be a star for this team, and then next thing you know, he's just going to be passed on to the next organization by the A's. I don't know what it is. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully when they get to Las Vegas, they turn things around and they start running this team like a championship organization again, because this is one of the most historical franchises in baseball. Yes, they've moved around a lot, but they've won in every city they've been in. And that needs to happen again. I love when the historical, old school organizations are clicking and they're playing really well. That is always so much fun to watch. And I think it needs to happen. Right now, the A's are in a good spot. They have a young core. They have Lawrence Butler. They have Tyler Soderstrom. They have Shea Langoliers. They have Jacob Wilson. These guys are good ball players. Shea Langoliers could hit the ball a little bit better, but he's a stud defensively as a catcher. And the A's are in a good spot where they could be competitive and be a top team for a while with the amount of youth that they have. They also have some good guys down in their minor league system that I won't be surprised if we see them at some point this season. Um, Over in the National League, we have the Mets atop the East at 14-7, Phillies at 13-8, Marlins at 8-12, Nationals at 8-12, the Braves at 7-13. Again, the Braves are kind of just lost in their ways. They've had a whole lot of road bumps right now. Spencer Strider threw like 90 some pitches, 5 innings of work. He did really well in his return to the MLB. Verdugo 4 for 5 on Saturday. He had a really good day. Um, I think that the Braves are going to be starting to get the ball rolling a little bit. The gears are starting to turn. Things are going to start looking up for the Braves. So if you're a Braves fan, don't stress out quite yet. If they're still in the basement of the NL East come July, maybe start to panic a little bit. But I think with Strider coming back, Verdugo looking like a man that really has something to prove to organizations that did not sign him earlier in spring training. I think this is a team that's going to be able to turn things around. Or at least I hope, because when the Braves play good baseball, it's a lot of fun to watch. Over in the Central, we have the Cubs, the Brewers, the Reds, Cardinals, and the Pirates are at the bottom at 8-14. Cubs are on top at 14-9. Brewers aren't far behind at 11-10, which I am surprised about. The Brewers did not look good through the beginning of this month and through the end of March, but I'm happy that they're able to turn things around. The Cardinals look like a really fun team right now. They have some guys that are able to hit the ball, but they have more guys that unfortunately can't, and they need some help on the mound. Some of their starters look pretty good, but once they turn things over to that bullpen, that's when it starts to fall apart. Over in the West, the Padres are on top at 15-6. The Dodgers are storming back. They're at 15-7 right now. Giants at 14-7. The Diamondbacks at 12-9. And then there's that other team in Colorado that everybody forgets exists in the NL West, and that is the Rockies at 3-16. It's tough sledding for the Rockies. Especially because Chris Bryant just got hurt. Chris Bryant is going to be out for, I believe they put him on the 10-day IL recently. Looking through real quick to try to find it. I'm not 100% sure where he's at, but I know he's going to be out for a little while. He has a lumbar degenerative disc disease. He's doing baseball activities, but return does not appear to be imminent as the Rockies initially thought. So he's probably going to be out for quite some time, unfortunately. And then you have the Cubs saying goodbye to Justin Steele for the year, unfortunately. But it's just tough, man. Like it's a long season, and if you want to win a World Series, you got to keep your team healthy. But the Rockies right now, it's Kyle Farmer versus the world out there in Colorado. So I don't expect a whole lot from the Rockies, but the Padres, Dodgers, and Giants is going to be a fun group of three to watch, sitting atop the NL West right now. The Diamondbacks definitely are a sneaky team that is a lot of fun to watch, and if Eugenio Suarez is able to find his swing again, he's been struggling a little bit of late, but if he's able to find that swing again, watch out, because Diamondbacks will be a team to watch without a doubt. And I wouldn't be surprised if all of the National League wildcard teams are from the NL West right now. I mean, the Phillies have a good shot, but I think for the Mets, Phillies, Cubs, and the Brewers and the Reds a little bit, the safest option to make the playoffs is going to be to win your division, because the Padres, Dodgers, Giants, Diamondbacks are hot. And if they can stay hot, it's gonna be tough for anyone from any other division to make it into a wild card spot. Stay up to date on everything going on in the sports world by heading over to Seven Mountain Sports on Facebook, Seven Mountain Sports on X, on Instagram. We are on all of your favorite platforms, and you do not want to miss out on a single thing going on here at Seven Mountain Sports. Looking over at some of the statistical leaders, again, these numbers were calculated before the games began today. A lot of the games are over for day of recording on Sunday, so some of the numbers probably have changed by the time you are listening to this. Aaron Judge, I looked, Aaron Judge is on top with batting average at 397, followed by his teammate Paul Goldschmidt at 367. Then you have Jonathan Aranda, Brandon Donovan, and Pete Alonso rounding out the top five. When it comes to hits, Aaron Judge sits on top with 31. Corbin Carroll has 30. Brendan Donovan has 30. Paul Goldschmidt has 29. And Kyle Tucker also has 29. And looking at home runs, Tyler Soderstrom is leading the way with 9, followed by Mike Trout, Cal Raleigh at 8, and a long list of ball players have 7 home runs. Going over to the mound, Chris Bassett is leading the way with a .77 ERA. Senga 0.79. Yamamoto with a 0.93. Garrett Crochet with a 1.13. And Hunter Brown, surprisingly, sitting in the 5 spot with a 1.5 ERA. Hunter Brown is a guy that I was not expecting to be this dominant when it came to pitching this season. I wasn't too high on Hunter Brown, but he is surprising me. And through his first 3 or 4 starts that he's had here this season, he's been absolutely lighting things up. When it comes to strikeouts, Mackenzie Gore is on top of the list with 45, followed by Reagan's with 42, Logan Gilbert at 41, Wheeler also at 41, Yamamoto and Webb both have 38. Saves, Robert Suarez at 8, Finnegan is at 7, along with Munoz and Tanner Scott, and then tied for 5th spot at 6. 6 saves is Josh Hader, Luke Jackson, and Mason Miller. Mason Miller is probably one of the most sought after trade pieces this upcoming trade deadline. I know there's not a lot of trade talks right now that are going on. A couple teams we know are looking for specific pieces due to injury or some other reasoning to be out. But Mason Miller is going to be one of those pieces that I think the A's will be willing to part ways with should they get the right package back with a number of prospects and probably a MLB ready reliever. I wouldn't be shocked if the A's start to dish out some of these guys that are playing really, really well. I don't want to see it, but like I said, I would not be really shocked if that's the road that the A's end up going down. Something that I wanted to kind of start this week, just because I think it's fun and it'll be something extra to do, and something fun that you guys can debate with me on if you feel like reaching out to me, and that is the Storied Player of the Week. And that is going to go to, well, there's going to be one pitcher of the week and a hitter of the week. And it's just who I think had the best week and who I like as the top player for any given week. And this week, I'm going to start with the Storied Pitcher of the Week. And that is going to Bailey Falter. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 Ks, no walks, no earned runs, and no runs at all, actually. And he actually faced the minimum number of batters through 7 innings. Yes, he gave up 2 hits, but he rolled a couple of double plays and was able to get out of the inning like it was a 1-2-3 inning. Bailey Falter had an unbelievable day on the mound against the Nationals. Now, I understand the Nationals are a hit or miss team. They're not a powerhouse. They're young. But this is a performance that we haven't seen out of Bailey Falter for a very long time, if ever. I believe this was probably one of Bailey Falter's best games of his career, and he went out. He was very dominant. The every ball that went into play was a routine out, super easy, super relaxed, and he seemed in control of pretty much every count. He had a really good game against the Nationals a few days ago. But like I don't know any other pitcher right now through the past week that had a performance like that was just so dominant, cool, collected. There was a couple guys that did have good outings that were definitely in the running for this storied player of the week, such as Andrew Heaney, who also allowed 0 runs and pitched 1 out extra, had 2 more strikeouts, so it was pretty close. But I really think with the amount of work that Bailey Falter has put out up to this point, to be able to just turn things around and have a absolute epic dominant outing like that is kind of next level, and it was very impressive. So that is why I'm going to be giving the Storied Pitcher of the Week award here on Scorebook Stories, the first ever, to Bailey Falter. And the storied hitter of the week, not ironically, is going to Trevor Story. He had a great week. 6 games played, a 417 batting average, 10 hits, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, and a 462 OBP. Chicks dig OBP. And I love Trevor Story. I have always been a huge fan of Trevor Story. I have a Trevor Story Colorado jersey in the closet right now. I have always been on the Trevor Story train. And as much as I don't like to see Boston succeed, I love watching Trevor Story play top-notch, high-level baseball. He played a great week, and it is awesome to see Trevor Story back from injury. And as long as he can keep himself healthy, then I think the Red Sox will always be in a solid spot when it comes to their middle infield and the shortstop and second base position. And should they need, for any reason, help at third, Trevor Story can play that too. But if Trevor Story's at third base, that means that Bregman and Devers are both hurt. that to me is what that means if Trevor Story is playing third base. But I'm happy to see him in the lineup consistently, and I'm happy to see Trevor Story balling out. Congratulations to Bailey Falter and Trevor Story for being this week's Storied Players of the Week. So come on back next week to hear who's going to win it next week, who's going to be the Storied Players of the Week, and where are the standings going to change? What are some of the big headlines going to be throughout this week? I don't know, but there is going to be so much great baseball. The Yankees are going to be playing the Blue Jays this week, and the amount of games, we could spend another 25 minutes sitting here going through all of the games coming up for the next week. But just to rattle off a couple here, we have like I said, the Yankees taking on Toronto. Before that, Toronto's going to be taking on Houston. We have the Phillies and the Mets coming up. That series is going to be epic. Game 1 of that series is on Monday. So make sure, or today, if you're listening to this on release day, that's going to be a huge series. Detroit is going to be taking on the Padres. There's so many great games, and I cannot wait to sit my butt on the couch and watch every single one of them. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in right here on Scorebook Stories. Make sure you follow 7 Mountain Sports on YouTube at 7 Mountain Sports. Subscribe so you never miss an episode of Scorebook Stories or any of the other 7 Mountain Sports products, and follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Goodbye, and go watch some baseball.